Are you or someone you know looking to buy or sell a home? When you use a HomeGain Realtor to buy or sell a home, you can get $150. Visit HomeGain.com and click on the Promo 150 banner at the top of the page to get started. Compare HomeGain Realtors and choose your favorite. Complete your home purchase or sale transaction with a HomeGain Realtor, and HomeGain will pay you $150. Get started today by going to HomeGain.com. Welcome back, Washington, D.C. Metro, to Real Estate 360 Live. I'm your host, Ryan Sloper, joined today by my guest, Cammarosano, the general manager of HomeGain. Quick reminder, Real Estate 360 is designed to build the Washington, D.C. Metro's housing and credit markets one house at a time. If you ever have any questions, whether it's finance-related, real estate, credit, whatever it may be, give me a call at the off-air number. It's 877-245-2030. That's 877-245-2030. So, to the third question that you should be asking yourself when buying a home, and of course, this is in relation to the KCM blog article. I've actually, I've had issues with each of these questions and actually the way they've been answered. But the third one is, why am I buying a home in the first place? And KCM blog said this is truly the most important question to ask. Forget the finances for a minute. Why do you even begin to consider purchasing a home? And for most, the reason has nothing to do with finances. The Fannie Mae National Housing Survey shows that the four major reasons people buy a home having nothing to do with money. The first, a good place to raise children and for them to get a good education. Second, a place where you and your family feel safe. Third, more space for you and your family. Fourth, control of the space. Now, it's interesting because I think that all those are definite reasons that people are actually looking to buy a home, Lewis. But I think that actually now where interest rates are, that I think that there is more of a financial benefit for people actually considering buying a home right now. And I think that if they redid this survey, I think that you would find that increasingly more people right now are looking at the financial benefit of owning a home for less money than they could actually rent for. So I think that there are a lot more financial benefits right now to consider buying. And I think that the more people are coming out of their leases or going into a new lease, I think that that financial burden of the unknown when you're taking a lease out and from one year to the next it can change. I think it is a lot of, maybe somebody now is going to say, I think I should buy because I need to lock in that long-term cost of shelter. Wouldn't you agree with me there?
I'd agree, and I think that the authors, it's kind of a proven fact in the industry that when you write these articles, top 10 reasons or 3 reasons why, it gets more viewers. But I think if they had just written their article, why buy a home, and just stuck with point 3, it'd have been a more effective article, but probably fewer people would have found the article.
True. Very true.
Because basically they're saying their main point is that the reasons you buy a home are not necessarily financial, but they led with 2 financial points because they know also that people are kind of thinking the wrong way about buying a home. They're thinking that, what are the experts saying, and am I going to make money?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a good article. They've got all the points in there.
Yeah, and very few people that I've worked with in the past 6 months have, not one of their things have been, well, how do I think that I'm going to make, $25,000, $30,000 in the next 3 years on this house? That's just not the way they're thinking. Now,
speculative stocks, maybe.
Right. The one question they may ask. The one question they may ask is, do you feel like buying in this neighborhood is a good long-term investment, right? So that makes a little bit more sense to me because, if it's a newer development, if they're still building back in there, are there any proposed shopping centers or, malls or anything that might, give an economic boost to that area, then those are factors that, working with a local real estate agent that knows that area would be able.
What are the long-term employment prospects here?
Yeah, so those are things to consider. And, for somebody that's looking for to buy their home and want it to be a good long-term investment, then those are important questions to ask. And the best way to get that information is to work with a local professional that knows those markets. So, it is important, although there's not one agent out there that can tell you, hey, and within the next 3 to 4 years, you're probably going to have a 10% increase on your home because it just can't be done. I mean, we could easily this year in the D.C. metro area see a 5 to 10% increase in the home prices, and then next year it could be a 7% decline because we don't know what's going to happen with the upcoming election, with all of these bills that are being introduced. What is the Fed going to do? There's so many different moving parts that if one of these things get out of skew, it could really change things.
Right, but you do know you need a place to live, and you do know approximately how much money you're making this month and will be making over the next 12 months. And if you want to lock down that cost of shelter, getting a long-term mortgage helps you do that.
Yeah, and it's
irrespective of where the price of the home goes.
Absolutely. And if you're out there now and you've applied for a mortgage, I'm going to go through, 6 of the things that you don't want to do after you apply for that mortgage that could actually prevent you from getting the mortgage because, you screwed one of these things up. And the first one is, don't go depositing cash into your bank accounts after you've already applied for the mortgage, especially like amounts over $1,000, because the lender's going to want to source your money, and obviously depositing cash into a bank, it's not really traceable. So you're going to have a hard time. If it's smaller deposits, it's fine. But if you're depositing cash of over $1,000 into the bank accounts and you can't source it and give an explanation, you're going to have an issue there. So that's the first thing that you want to stay away from. The second is don't make any large purchases like going out and buying a new car and furniture. I do know that a lot of people get this anxiousness to go out and buy furniture for the house that they don't physically own yet. So they want to go out and, open up a credit card. They've already bought $5,000, $10,000 worth of furniture to put in this new home, and they haven't even signed on the dotted line for their loan. Big mistake. Big mistake. You don't want to do that because the lender's going to ask, have you taken out any new debts since this loan application's been at closing? You're going to have to sign that. And, you can't lie, so you need to be able to say that you did, and that's going to probably cause the loan to not happen. That's a biggie. I can't tell you how many people have done that. It's good to stay aware. Don't do anything as far as credit cards, auto loans, none of it. Wait until after your transaction closes to do that. Number 3, don't co-sign any other loans for anyone else. So even if it's your brother, your son, daughter, don't do it. Hold off until after the transaction is closed. The 4th one is don't change bank accounts. Stick with your bank accounts because they're going to want to see at least a 2-month history of your bank accounts. So don't go open up a new one where you don't have that history. And I know people are like, well, yeah, I had an overdraft account or, I overdrafted on my one bank account, so I don't want to show that one. There's other things that you can do, which are a verification of deposit, which would actually show your average 2-month balance on your checking or savings account versus showing the full bank statement. So there's things that can be done there, but as a rule of thumb, you don't want to be changing bank accounts. Number 5 is don't apply for any new credit. This goes along the same lines of, when you're trying to go out there and buy the furniture. Obviously, most people are trying to take out some sort of credit because a lot of these furniture stores will have 0 interest for, 24 months, 36 months, and people are trying to take advantage of it. I mean, essentially, it's free money if you pay it off within that allotted period of time. But wait until after you close to do this. And the last one, which is number 6, is don't close any of your credit accounts. A lot of people think that, hey, my credit score is going to go up if I pay my card off and then close it. That's actually very, very untrue. It's great that you paid it down to 0, but don't go closing it out. Because if you close it out, then it stops rating that account. And it's actually going to show it as a closed account now and not an open revolving account. And that could affect your credit score negatively. It could be, 15, 20, 30 points. That's a big swing there, and it could mean the difference in an eighth to a quarter in interest rate potentially. So you don't want to go, running out there, closing all these accounts just because you think that it's going to be a good idea and it's going to help your credit score, it's going to help you close. Just leave it as it is. When the lender or bank, when they pull your credit, they're going to have it in front of them. So you basically want to keep that same credit profile all the way through the transaction. Don't make any changes. And if you're questioning anything, then make sure you're talking to the professional that's helping you with your loan, whether it's a bank or a lender. Make sure you talk to them and say, hey, I was thinking about doing this, but I wanted to run it by you. Don't just go and do it, because I've seen too many transactions ruined by people just taking it upon themselves to say, oh, this is not going to be a big deal. I mean, Lewis, I can't tell you how many times people think that it's like really, really like minor stuff, like going to Home Depot and opening up a $500 account to get some paint. And all of a sudden, that they pull another credit report 3 days prior to closing, and now their credit score came down 30 or 40 points, and it keeps them from getting a loan.
Always pays to get professional help in buying or selling a home. That's not one of the things you really want to do yourself. No,
especially in today's market where the underwriting guidelines are very, very stringent. And believe it or not, I don't want to say that the underwriters are necessarily looking for a reason to turn down a loan, but don't give them one. Don't make it so that they want to start searching for another problem, because typically once they find one thing that they don't like, then they look for another and another and another. And that ultimately could lead to your loan being turned down. The best thing to do, like I said, is to consult with a professional. Reach out to me. I gladly put you in touch with the company that we use, Gold Star Financial. Get you in touch with a loan officer there that can walk you through all of your options and explain to you, okay, from start to finish, this is how we're going to start your loan, and let you know what you need to be doing all the way through that loan process to ensure yourself that you can get that loan. I mean, the worst thing that you want to happen is for you to write a contract on a property. You already had a pre-approval. You go all the way through the process, and then a couple days prior to closing, something changed on your credit, or you had a large deposit go into a bank account that you can't source. Now you got big issues. And you then have to probably, go and try to switch your loan over to a different company, which could take another 30, 60 days and ruin that transaction. A lot of these things are very, very, small things, but can mean the difference between you getting the home and not getting the home. 877-245-2030. That's 877-245-2030. We're coming up on the end of the show. Louis, I want to thank you again for coming on. And, for those of you that didn't hear earlier, if you want to check out and, find a realtor or compare realtors in your local area, the best place to do that is at HomeGain. And what's that program called again, Louis?
It's called Find a Realtor program.
Okay.
Just simply go to homegain.com, look to the left box for the Find a Realtor offer, and get started there. And if you complete a transaction with one of our realtors, you get $150 back.
Perfect. Guys, so I highly advise you check that out, homegain.com today. Louis, I appreciate you coming on. Have a great week.
Thanks for having me.
Guys, thanks you again for tuning in to Real Estate 360 Live. Remember, we're on every Monday from 2 to 3 p.m. on WNEW 1580 AM. If you ever have any questions, concerns, or real estate needs, the best number to reach out to me is 877-245-2030. That's 877-245-2030, whether it's credit, finance, trying to obtain a home loan, whether you're in a distressed situation and trying to figure out whether a short sale is a better option for you than going into foreclosure. I'm here to help you, and if I can't help you, I'll point you in the right direction to somebody that can. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back again next week. Have a great week.